My biggest thing at this stage was, how do I make the biggest impact? How do I create something and help other people? How can they go through the pain easier?
Welcome to the Mind Over Money podcast with Jess and James, the only podcast you need to tune into each week to grow your personal, professional, and financial life. Join entrepreneur, investor, and multi-award winning international speaker Jess and James as he shows you how to take control of your mind to create the life, income, and career you deserve. Here's your host, Jess and James.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Mind Over Money podcast. And today I am super excited because I have a guest with me who's someone that I've got to know very, very closely over the last few months. Someone that's been working with me closely, but also someone that's got a massive background in serving and helping other people. And look, you know, this is the Mind Over Money podcast, and this show is all about how you can help people become the best version of themselves, take care of their finances, but also have better lives. So this person I'm about to introduce you to is someone that's changed the lives of thousands of people all across the world by pouring into them through his skills in leadership, personal development, self-help, helping people become the best version of themselves. But that's not all he's known for. This is someone who's also got a background in performing arts, theatre, acting, and movies in the Bollywood industry. So please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Imran Ahmed to the show. Hey, dear man.
Hey, man. Thank you for having me. Honestly, it's a pleasure.
No, it's my pleasure. It's absolutely. We've been trying to plan this for a long time, and we'll come on to some of the things that we're working on in the background in a little while. But I've been looking forward to this particular one because it's around a topic that you know is dear to my heart, and that is personal development, well-being. You know, out of all the things that I talk about money, business, sales, marketing, all that stuff. My core is in personal development, you know. So, and I know it's something that's a big part of your life, and obviously that you do now. But before we get into that, because a lot of our listeners, when they listen to the show, they tune in because they want to make more money. They want to make more money. They want to have more money. They want to build a better life around money. Yeah. But they also know, my listeners, that it stems from within. So not externally, which is really where we're going to take this conversation. And we're going to go deep.
All right.
We're going to go deep. We're going to do some of the things that we might say can't be used in evidence. No. But before we go into that, who is Imran Ahmed? Like, let everybody know, who are you? What's your background? What's your story? How did this all begin?
Wow. Okay. Well, that's an opening question, isn't it?
It's a very opening.
It's something that I've been looking at myself and thinking, how did this all come together? How did this all pan out? How did I get through all that stuff? So, going back, I've done so many things now, and I've been through so many experiences that I question myself. And let me be straight with you, early days were not easy. Yeah. Like growing up as a kid, they were probably the toughest years of my life because I was so young. And it was at the age of 3 it all started, and I felt at that moment when it was really where my feelings realized that there was a lot of uncertainty. Yeah. And I also recognized that my mum's no longer around, and I don't have a dad at this point. So
at 3 years old.
At 3, I didn't know who this. There was some male figures, but I didn't know who they were. I didn't really know my mum at this stage. I knew she was there, so you had a sense of security. Yeah. But I just I didn't feel as if there was a family unit. But I had fun. I was a kid. I didn't know anything. You're just 3 years old, right? Yeah. You have no idea. You just think, all right, as long as I'm cool, as long as I'm fed, looked after, all good. And there was one day where me and my older brother, he's 2 years older than me, we were taken by social services and then handed over to a family to look after us. And I think genuinely that was the moment that I felt something change. And that change, I think it just started from that point. Because think about it, what do kids want, right? Young kids, they want stability, they want security, they want love, they want fun. And that's the sort of things I wanted. But now I've realized I'm in a different environment, which means I can't have stability, fun, love, joy, happiness.
So let me get this straight. 3 years old, social services take you away from your mum And was it just you?
It was me and my older brother.
And your older brother. And put you into care, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a massive thing for anyone, any child to process. So what was going through your head in that moment? I know it's a long time ago.
Do you know
3
what?
years old.
Do you know what? I couldn't rely on my older brother because he was lost.
Right.
He was 5.
How much old? Oh, he's 5. Okay.
5 and I was 3. He just seemed lost.
Yeah.
I couldn't rely on him. I couldn't ask anyone what was happening. And it was a whole load of confusion. Honestly, it felt like abandonment, emptiness, confusion, uncertainty, a lack of security. And if you talk about the human needs, you realize even Maslow's needs, you realize that the things that you need to survive, that's all you really got, which was sort of food and shelter.
Yeah.
The feelings of insignificance were there massively. And that continued as I grew from that age upwards. Insignificance, lack of love, no variety. Everything's, there's certainty there because everything's just the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's no growth, there's no change, there's no weekends away. It's all just based in this very insular environment. And I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know what it was. I knew something was up. I thought, this is just odd. But I tell you what, I don't know. I'll go with it. Because, listen, think about it this way. When I grew up, we were in an Asian environment, and you had Asian kids that all had a mum and dad, all had family members. Yeah. We were the black ducklings, right? We were, because it was like, who are you? Where's your mum? Where's your dad?
Yeah.
And then the moment you don't know, that's the moment everyone else uses that as ammunition.
So culturally as well, it was a massive thing because you're like Asian background and you've got no parents, and that's not about stigmatizing. It's not something you see every day.
No.
Especially back then, obviously in the UK, in the care system, it's definitely probably something that they didn't see much of, right? No. So you've already felt ousted, and now you're put into another environment where you both still feel that you don't fit in
completely
at all. Yeah. No. So then, what happens next?
So as the years go on and the confusion mounts, right? It gets more and more, and the uncertainty just continues. There are feelings of abandonment, but I just think I got to a stage where I thought, well, I don't really know what it is. I don't really know what's going on. But you know what? The important thing for me is that if I get through this, and if I just have a little bit of fun here and I get through this, I'm sure it'll be all right. Yeah. Because you know what? I know what's going to happen every day, and I know what's going on. I started enjoying more time at school. And when I say that, I was one of the biggest kids in my year. So I'm enjoying myself, and then it only comes down to a time where, okay, the big kid, everyone wants to fight him, right? So I'm like, okay, all right. So you build courage quite early. And it's odd because unless I was put in that situation, I wouldn't have built that courage. No. So every break time, every lunchtime, I remember just fighting. It was literally having fights, and different kids wanted to pick on you. Kids that were older than you, they wanted to have a go. Yeah. And I know you're giving it the big man at that point, or the big boy, but you do not want to. I'm not the type of guy that wants to be in fights. No. But I had to prove something because remember, my significance was so low.
Yeah.
So the only way I could find significance was to actually get into fights because that's where you get respect. Yeah. Right. So I had that. Then over the next few years, I thought to myself, all right, like whatever it is, however bad it is right now, because there was a lack of a lot. Like when I talk about a lack of a lot, it felt like so much was missing. If I look at my friends and I look at people around me, and you got parents' evening coming up, or you get parents that pick them up from school, or even your school trips, you don't have them. Like, you don't really have the money, as in the family I was with, they didn't have the money to send us on school trips. So I never really left the country until the age of 19. Yeah. But it was knowing something's up, but knowing that something will not always be up. Something will change, right? Things will happen.
Yes.
So check this out. And then after this, as time went on, and all these confusing feelings, but it was okay. I had my mum comes back in our lives.
So how old are you at this point?
So at this point, I'm 9.
So you're 9 years old, and mum comes back into your life, as in, you mean social services give you back to your...
No, just on weekends sometimes.
Okay,
weekends.
right, got you.
Yeah? So she had access to us. And at the same time, she's been married 3 times at this point, and now she's with my stepdad.
Yeah.
Right. So now I have a stepbrother I am unaware of. Turns up, which was cool. But you know what? Life became a bit exciting because they were into fraud.
Right.
So they were doing credit cards back then. All right. So we're talking about money.
Yeah.
That was their way of being resourceful.
Well, this is the Mind Over Money podcast. Yeah.
That was their way of being resourceful and just finding using other people's money. That's what it was. We didn't know this, but we got to know quite quick. And what they used to do is take us and travel to different towns and do different frauds.
Right.
We were witnesses to all of this.
Right.
But I learned quite young what goes on. And there was a bit of bribery in terms of got a little bit here and there. It became exciting. So it took me away from all the mundaneness of life and it became exciting. But there wasn't really a lot of care, love. It wasn't any of those reasons. It was more reasons like maybe this is the right thing to do, but not that they want to do it. So we traveled the whole of the UK, pretty much, it felt like. And at the age of 10, that's when they go to prison. So again, this is now, they get caught, and we're talking hundreds of thousands back then.
So your mum and your stepdad, right? Yeah.
They go to prison one at a time each. And I went to visit my mum in Holloway in London. That was weird at the age of 9.
So 9 years old, you're visiting your mum in prison. Wow.
Yeah. In Holloway, it was an odd experience. I'm never going to forget that prison. The food, I'm just not going to forget the smell of that food ever. Yeah. But I met some odd people there, and it really threw me. I think prison really threw me. I think and seeing my dad really threw me as well, as in my stepdad, going to prison, and just the massive amount of uncertainty that it caused all of us. But we were there just weekends, you see. So back in High Wycombe then she comes out, and after that, and this is sort of how my life sort of starts planning out now, because at the age of 11, after they're both back out from prison now, they then both get addicted to crack cocaine. Right now, I'm 11. They're addicted to crack. I cannot tell you the experiences we had to go through to see the different people come in, and these are drug dealers, and these are crack dealers. Crack dealers are very different to drug dealers. Crack dealers are dirty. Crack dealers are different level. Money means everything to them. They'll kill you for money if they have to. So these dealers were coming in, taking items at a time because there's no money left. So it was furniture. Went to sofas.
They were lifting stuff out the house because your mum couldn't pay for the drugs.
Well, they wanted drugs, but they didn't have the money to get drugs. So everything was being taken. The last thing I remember being there was a TV. Yeah. When that went, I threw a fit, right? Because, I've got a TV now. Yeah. That was the only thing that could take me away from escaping the situation. I've actually never talked this candidly about it, but yeah, we'll continue.
Why not?
It's not one of those things that I visit too often because I've found a way through all the work that I've done after that to block it all out, right? So it didn't mean much. But of course, it has a lot of purpose.
But on that note, and we will get into this more, like there's a lot of people listening right now that are blocking stuff out. But they're doing it in a way that's detrimental to their well-being. Because, for example, there's some people listening to this right now blocking out the fact that maybe their finances aren't the way that they should be, or blocking out the fact that maybe they grew up in a household where money was a problem, and they've deleted it because they didn't like that experience. But that same experience is why they behave the way they behave right now around money. So sometimes blocking stuff out doesn't actually serve us, does it? You got to go back there and process it. So we're in this house. Your mum and your stepdad get addicted to crack. You're 11 years old at this point. TV goes. What happens now?
So now, now I've got a young sister at this point. My mum was pregnant. This is just before she went on crack. She had my sister. She's 6 months old. Now is where I really had to step up. Like this is where my life really, really, really changed. Because up until then, I was on the effect of everything going on, and this is when I'm have to be on the side of cause. I've got to change stuff. I realized that my older brother was still in a mess. Like at this stage, he was still in a mess. All he cared about was going to school with his friends, and that was it. He was gone. So it left me to look after the people in the house, which is my younger brother and my younger sister, who's now 6 months old. So there's a newborn baby. I even remember to the point where we were living in a tower block. This is probably one of the worst areas in council areas I've seen, but this is in Southampton called St Mary's.
Yeah.
And I just visited this place the other day, and it has not changed. It is that bad.
Wow.
And I remember looking at the school opposite the block of towers that we stayed in. And I went to that school for like a month, and then I got kicked out. I got excluded for, again, fights.
Yeah.
There were fights going on constantly. Now, when I'm back in this apartment, the pain of an uncertainty of not knowing what the hell was going to happen next, because you've gone from, think about this, you've gone from, your parents being into fraud, then them going to prison, then you've got these drug dealers coming around, then them being on crack, then them turning up whenever they want and don't. Not really caring about my younger sister. There was times when there was zero electricity in the house, right? Nothing.
And it's a newborn baby.
Newborn baby, right? There was food. I remember, I still can feel, I'm so anchored to this, when you tip the milk and you test how warm it is. And it used to be boiling sometimes, and I remember just trying to cool this thing down because she was upset and crying.
Yeah.
But I still remember...
How old are you? 11?
About 10, this is 10 or 11, yeah.
And you're feeding a baby.
Yeah, I mean, it was... Do you know, like, she even remembers, when I saw her the other day, she remembers just knowing that, she's happy that we were just there for her.
Yeah.
But feeding her, like holding her, winding her, like really being a father. It felt like I was a father at this point. And I remember looking at her going, I don't know what's going on. Like, is this, what did you do to deserve to come into this environment? Because I thought, if I grew up without a mum and dad, like, you're growing up without anyone. Like, I'm here, I know, but you have no one from the time you opened your eyes. How are you going to interpret all this, right?
Yeah.
So she gets fed, she gets looked after to the best that I could, right? Just to the best that I could. And it was next that what changed everything. So I try and make some sense out of all of this shit. They're gone. But they're involved with gangsters now as well. So that means your home situation, you got gangsters coming in. They can change or shake shit up at any point, right? So then I move on and I say, okay, well, I need to start going to school, but I need to find a way of looking after my sister.
Yeah.
So we find a way slowly. My mum, she's gone, my dad's gone, but we slowly seem to find a way where I can be there. All my brothers there for a little while. And there are some family members that still could just pop in now and then. But there's no one there to help, trust me. No. There was no one there to help. So this is where the leadership, I had to take that leadership step to say, you know what, no one's going to step up, so I have to step up. If no one's going to do it, I've got to do it. My older brother wasn't going to do it. And for me, that was it. I thought there's no other way, because I cannot see a way out of this. I've got no money, no food, nothing for my little sister. And that's when I did ask a few people. They said no. Yeah. And I was looking for milk. And then I thought, okay, you know what? Fuck it. Just steal if I have to. Yeah. So that's where stealing began. So and my association to money started from that point.
So you started stealing food, essentially, to feed this baby. Yeah. Your baby sister.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose it was being resourceful. At that age, as an 11-year-old, what else do you do?
I had no other...
survival, right?
Yeah, I had no other choice, right? I had food. There was food for her. I mean, I remember the SMA, the old packs, right? Go in the chemist, and you get caught from one chemist after a little while. You got to find other chemists or other places, right? So you got to be resourceful. Then it moved on to food. So I thought, all right, well, if we're doing that, I'm hungry, right? I want to get some food. Yeah. Then from food, it moved on to items, right? So you thought, all right, well, if I can do this. So again, I'm breaking boundaries now. So even though she was taken care of, I started getting her clothes and stealing her stuff in terms of her clothing, making sure she's good. My younger brother. And then I started getting myself stuff. Then I started looking after myself a little bit. Then that meant or led into perfumes, DVDs, VHSs, and from that point it was then into TVs and bigger items, right? Yeah. So you've got the courage to walk out of a shop with a huge TV as if you're just a kid and you have no idea what you're doing. Yeah. And it worked, right?
How old are you now?
I'm about 11 and a half at this stage, close to 12.
Wow.
And it worked, right? I used to walk in, I used to go and get some I thought, listen, there's no one there. I've asked everyone I could.
Yeah.
Social services are involved, but not really, because the moment they do, they'll take my sister away.
Yeah.
So I'm now getting stuff and then selling it on to people to make money. It's the only way I thought, right? While most kids were in school, I was hustling.
Right.
I thought that's the only way to make money. So my hustle started at a very early age. This is wheeling and dealing, trying to buy little things, sell them upscale the sell, and no one's going to check the price. There's no internet back then. So I sell it at a higher price. Jewelry, perfume, John Lewis. Honestly, if I could put a value on all of that, we could probably be talking in the hundreds of thousands.
Wow.
Like at that time.
Yeah.
That's how much I had gone out and done. I mean, if I carried on, I don't know what would have happened to the UK economy. Honestly, at some stage, the impact would have been felt, I'm telling you. But it was bad. It was bad because I had no one to guide me otherwise. No one said it could be a better way. I remember reaching out to some uncles, some so-called uncles. There was no guidance.
Yeah.
They just left you to it. So there was no other way but to do what I did. And once we got into car stereos, it became easier because it was just cars. It was stereos. It was flipping and selling them, converting them. We had a deal going on. It was like we had a business contract with an audio car company, and they just used to take them off us, give us cash.
Yeah.
And after the cars, it went into burglaries. After burglaries, there were some robberies. And I think that was it, because the moment another human being enters the equation, I can't do nothing. I can't do that. Like that's when I started feeling it, right? And something had to change. So I kept getting arrested over and over again. I can still smell right now the cells, the smell of the cells.
So
is
at
horrible.
that age, you were getting arrested. 11, 12.
Constantly.
Yeah.
So the funniest part is that they've got to release you to someone, right?
Yes.
So I'm a juvenile. So my mum or dad would come in and they'll be high on crack at this point, right? They didn't care. They didn't care if you were arrested or not.
Yeah.
And what do they expect? What, are they gonna have a go at you when they're not even around, right? So that whole process of not caring, not giving a shit anymore, not caring what anyone thinks or what they say, because life has taught me so many lessons so far at this point. Going from feeling empty, abandoned, uncertain, insecure, insignificant, to then saying, okay, well, now it looks like I've got to fight for this. Like most kids don't need to fight for that stuff. Like that stuff's normally given to them. I do it with my son. I don't fight him for it. I give it to him because that's the foundation of his being, and my daughter. But I had to fight for that stuff. So my way of fighting was to go out there and get that, right? And even though right now I say to you that it was a bad time, it was negative, I felt sad, I felt lonely, I felt anxious. At times I felt like killing myself. Like it was, I was pushed to the extremes because I just didn't know. I wasn't ready for this. That was a young age.
Who prepares you for that at any age?
I mean,
but as a child, it's even worse.
I had no idea. And I remember thinking to myself, what did I do to deserve this, right? Why me? Why this life? Why did it have to happen to us and not others? Because I could not find anyone else in a situation even remotely close to us. And we lived in the worst council state in the country, it felt like. And I could not. They were all better than us, in a way. And that's the insignificance started there. Like for many years it began, but I remember that these things give me variety. So these things made me go outside of my own world, my own reality, and go into a new place and say, you know what? I don't care anymore. So that's why when I started going to school, when finally I started going and I thought, okay, there's some certainty now. I'm learning things. There's knowledge. Excuse me. When I started going to school, the color of my skin became a problem.
Right. Hey, it's Jess and James here, founder of Unstoppable You, and right now my guess is you're curious. Maybe you're in a situation right now where you want more out of life and you just don't know how to get there. You're in a job or in a situation that's making you feel trapped and you want to break free from that situation. Well, look, come and join us at Unstoppable You. This is a 3-day live immersive experience on how to leave whatever's in the past and break through to the future that you deserve. There's a link. My advice is click on it, get yourself booked in before the tickets run out. I promise you it will be the best 3 days that you spend so you can unlock the rest of your future and live the life that you truly deserve. And I look forward to seeing you there.
So honestly, I'm looking in the mirror saying, right, do you want to just shoot me now? Are you just trying to kill me here, right? Like, How challenge after challenge after challenge. If it's not to do with your self-worth, if it's to do with your emotions, if it's not that, it's your money. If it's not that, it's your parents. If it's not that, it's now the colour of your skin. Yeah. And I'm not even that dark, right? I'm looking at my skin, right? I'm looking at these guys.
You're not as tanned as me.
No, definitely. You're a good tan, right? I get confused. But I'm looking at these kids. I'm in year 8, they're in year 11. Big difference in size. And I remember these 3 guys, Michael Fraser, Daniel Turner, and Gary Mason. And these 3 guys, they just would not leave me alone. And this was to the point where the racism was severe. Yeah. And the reason it became severe was because I fought back. There were 5 other Asian kids in that class, but
no one said anything.
They ain't saying shit.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to fight.
Yeah.
What did I have to lose? Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And that's the worst person to try and fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought to myself, come on, let's do it. And you know what? That gave me a purpose. That gave me, once I thought to myself at that point, all right, it's not just 1, 2, or 3 of you. It's the entire year that has a problem because I won't bow down to your National Front ideology because there were a lot of them that had brothers that were in National Front. So hanging out with an Asian kid was the wrong thing to do. If you're black, it's okay. You can hang around with some black kids, that's fine. But Asian, obviously they thought, the easy one to pick on. So every day there's a fight at school now. We came in the newspapers as well, in the Southampton Echo. This was quite funny, on the last day of their schooling, because I'm in fights every single day. Yeah. They're waiting for me at the bus stops. They're waiting for me afterwards. I remember there were eggs being thrown, or my jacket suddenly goes missing in my bag, and I find it sort of in the toilet, or it's flushed down, or whatever. All of these things happen. Jesus Christ. Or waiting for me on the bridge. Now, can you imagine if that was normal? If that was just in your normal life, right? You'll be like, okay, I can find a way around it, but then I got to go home to even worse stuff, right? So then I started suppressing those emotions, and I didn't care. I just thought, bring it. So I used to carry a knife with me. Wow. At the age of 13, I remember carrying this knife. Wow. And I was ready to use it. I've pulled it out many times, and I was ready to use it because I knew my life was on the line. Because these guys weren't kidding. It wasn't just a playing around racism.
They wanted to hurt you.
They wanted to hurt me. Yeah. They wanted me to, until I bowed down to them, they would not let me go, and I was the only one that wouldn't bow down. Yeah. So it was that simple. But you know what I found through that whole process? I got excluded. I got expelled at the end of the year. They left at year 11. We were in the papers because we literally, a load of people turned up on the last day that I knew, and they just raided the school, as in went after these boys. So it was in the papers. There's a big fight at the last day. But you know what that taught me? Because that's it. That's my schooling ended there. That was over. But no one would accept me after that. That was my first year back in school, right?
First and last.
That was it. Right. I've done year 8, but we're good. And I didn't really do year 8 properly because I was in and out. You had to pay 10p to get across this bridge, right, on the bus. And I didn't have the money to go across this bridge on the bus. So it was like, what do you do? Do you stay at home, or do you go to school? But do you know what that taught me? I see everything being a lesson. It had to be, because that just couldn't happen on its own, to me. And I see it now play out, but that got me into boxing. Right. That got me into training. That got me into standing up for myself. That got me into realizing that I have some potential. That got me into focusing on fighting. And I started Wing Chun, I started Jiu-Jitsu, I started boxing. And when I was boxing with the intent to hurt someone. Because every single ounce of frustration that I had, I took out in that boxing match, or on those boxing bags. But you know what? They taught me so much, discipline. Once you focus, or once you're pushed into a corner and you have no choice, you are squeezed to become someone you're not, right? A boxer, martial artist. And those are some of the best years of my life because I grew so much. I grew emotionally, I grew psychologically, I grew physically. And that insignificance started changing into significance. People started recognizing me, noticing me. I started training a lot, and I'm not supposed to be training, but I faked a lot of stuff back then, as you can imagine. It was easy to fake. I was in that field. I was with those people.
So faked your age.
Yeah, and I start working the doors at 14 years old. Now imagine this, right?
Hang on a sec. You're 14 years old and you're working the doors at what, clubs, bars?
At clubs in Southampton, right? It's crazy. I'm telling you, you can make this shit up. I couldn't make it up. There's way more than this, but I'm trying to give you a summary because I don't believe it myself.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty odd, but again, I got a fake ID. I thought, well, I need to make money somehow. And now I've got some skills, right?
Yeah.
You want to mess with me? Let's go.
Yeah.
Right? Now I've got some skills, but I can use them on the doors.
Yeah.
So I had a friend of mine. He had a bar initially. It was called Hot Shots, and we used to do it. I used to work in the bar during times. It was every weekend, nearly every day. Then I started working the place in jumping jacks. Now I'm only 14, right? And I've trained, but I'm now dealing with men. My biggest fear was, right, what if someone comes and realizes from school or somewhere else that they've seen me and they're going to tell someone. So I started growing a bit of fluff, if I could. There wasn't much coming out. So trying to look a bit different, right? Didn't really work. But do you know what? The funny thing is that, you know, those experiences, I went from Hot Shots to jumping jacks and all these bars and clubs. I came up against the biggest gangsters in Southampton at the time. I came up against some of the worst people. I came up against people, sometimes fights with 14 rugby players, and there's like a handful of you, and you've got to find somehow, some way of keeping these people down.
Yeah.
So, you know, when we talk about growth and capabilities, that was me understanding my capabilities. That was me realizing that my thinking has limited me for so long that this is playing out right in front of me, where I can go and get involved, and you know what, there's going to be a fight inside of me that I don't care. As long as I'm courageous and I don't have to walk away, I'll deal with it.
Yeah.
So in that moment, on those fights, you know, some of the biggest clubs, and I started getting more and more involved in clubs, and I became like a head doorman myself, and this was like 18.
Yeah.
And I'm like leading the nights, right? You know, giving the code reds and the code yellows and the code oranges. And I had such a good team. Like, you realize the collaboration of a team. That's the first time I realized what loyalty was, what trust, and a real team, like brotherhood. There was a brotherhood. One went down, everyone went down.
Yeah.
Right? One person got hurt, they got hurt massively in return.
Yeah.
So this was this fight that I went through, and I thought, well, what can I not achieve now? What if I've done this? And things are a bit better. Now, at this point, I just need you to know that my sister and younger brother aren't around because social services has taken them now. So this is the only way I've been able to get into this position. Wow. Social services realised that
mum wasn't around.
Obviously, mum wasn't around, dad wasn't around, they're on crack. And we've got these teenagers looking after young kids. So
this is amazing.
I then, I honestly, I started, when I started doing the doors, I started sort of just understanding more about what I need to do. And it was never about money, right? I had to hustle, yes. But I've always believed I never need money to get to somewhere. I'll find a way, right? And all through those experiences, I found a way to get through it without money. Even if money needed to be a resource, I've made sure it became a resource, even if I had to go and grab it with my own two hands, right? It made it into a resource. The best thing I think I learned out of that entire thing is, what can you achieve? If you just put your mind to things, what can you achieve? I never believed in those things. I never believed in myself.
Yeah.
I was led to believe. So if I put my heart to something, what do I believe? And then I started reading. I remember there's one book, it was called The Magic of Believing by Claude M. Bristol. It's a little red book.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I realized what beliefs are, where my beliefs have led me, how powerful they can be, how my beliefs about me, first of all, my identity, money, my beliefs about money, really, do I need it?
Yeah.
And then I realized, well, actually, I'm going to need to change my beliefs around this area because I need to work towards it. My career, what I can be. So this insignificant, uncertain, insecure, insular human being had gone from that without, you got to remember, there was no guidance. Like, I remember as a kid thinking, who can I ask if I have this question on my mind? Like, as a boy, you got loads of questions.
Yeah. I
didn't have a dad to ask. I couldn't ask my mum. I couldn't ask friends. I just had so I had to find the answer. I talked
you got
to
resourceful.
myself.
Yeah, you coached yourself.
There was a lot of talking going on.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was saying the right stuff, but listen, there was a lot of talking going on, inner talking, but it also made me into an introvert, right? All those years of just questioning, why me? What's going on here? I don't understand this. And the weird Asian culture, as in the weird Asian culture I was in,
Yeah.
it became more apparent that it's even more confusing the moment you introduce religion into it. Then you introduce culture, use all of this. I'm not even into any of that right now because I can't make sense out of it. So all of this was extremely confusing. So anyway, hit 18, and I get noticed by a few people. Anyway, girls start noticing me in this, and no one who knew me, no one wanted to come near me up until the age of maybe 16, right? So now I'm training, I'm on the doors, I've got a bit of status. Suddenly, girls start coming into my life. I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know what to do. So I got into a couple of relationships, realized it's not a good idea because I'm trying to look for significance through them.
Yeah.
It wasn't great. So I started getting noticed, and now I'm on stages in London, right? Performing, dancing, acting, performing, some of the biggest shows. I mean, I cannot forget this one event where there's 10,000 people at Wembley Arena.
Wow.
And I come up on stage, one of my first few gigs. I don't know how I got up on stage, one of my first few, and it ended up being Wembley.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there in awe of just seeing all these people, like, calling your name. Like, I was no superstar, but they knew I was on the act, so they could see my picture and my name on the poster. And I just felt so significant. It felt like, you know what, all of that stuff didn't mean nothing, right? And I'm telling you this because there's been so much hardship and pain and so much frustration throughout the years. Throughout every year, there's been pain, frustration, questions, lack of.
Yeah.
No one around to help you. You find a way yourself. You've got to just do it all yourself. And I never knew life was like this. No one told me this, that you come into this world, you're going to have to do it all yourself from a very early age. And when I was on that stage, people screaming your name, I was like, wow, like this is what I want more of this, right? And it felt
now your
good.
significance was being met in a different way.
Absolutely, in a complete different way.
So from the door work, the crime, the this to now being, I don't know, people calling your name.
People calling my name, people worshipping me, asking me for autographs.
Yeah.
I felt like a superstar. I'm telling you, I've got video on camcorder. I don't go back to them often, but you know, I'm like 18 at this point, and there's mums with their daughters sort of standing there wanting my autograph as soon as I come off stage. And I remember there's one shot when I'm looking at them thinking, seriously, like me? Like, I don't even know my autograph at this stage, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know how to do a signature. So I end up there were self-worth problems there. That's why I didn't feel worthy, right? But I still filled myself up with it. So I'm doing all these shows. I'm getting all this love from people. I'm getting all this admiration, but I don't feel worthy.
Yeah.
I don't feel loved or admired. I knew there's still more, right? There's got to be more. So then I got picked up, noticed after doing maybe hundreds and hundreds of shows on the biggest stages in Europe, in UK, and these were the biggest shows at that time. And Europe, I traveled to some countries which I loved. The fact that these experiences I had at such an early age. So then hit 19, I end up in Mumbai. Because someone noticed me, went out there, I trained went to the acting school with some of the biggest actors now that they're on screen in India. And I learned a lot about them. And I've seen their transition, and all of them, the ones that I knew, were extremely loving human beings. And they're very different now, but back then they were just great people, right? So that takes me to a country for the first time. And that's India. I've never been to Pakistan. So I've never been to one of these countries, India or Pakistan. Instantly, I get hit with the senses of everything India represents, right? Yeah. And this is the thing about India. You get an overload of senses, right? They call it synesthesia, where it's just, but this is a stack of synesthesia. Yeah. So the smells, the touching, the what you can see, all the lights, right? All the sounds going on in your ears, the tastes of food, everything is an overwhelm. But I'm there for one reason, which is to learn and move forward. So as time goes on, I'm learning all this stuff. I'm in India, I'm acting, I'm in the rickshaws, but then I start running out of money, you see? And money was a big player in here because I couldn't really earn it there because I was studying whilst doing that. I did some modeling shoots, I did some photo shoots. They took me to some islands, I remember, in the middle of the ocean, taking photo shoots with this woman. I fall into the water, with boat rocks, all this crazy stuff happens, right? She was one of the biggest models back then. And again, I just felt great in their presence, but I didn't feel great on my own, you see? So I thought, okay, I need to take it to the next level. And if I just go back a little bit. Why am I there at a very early age? Because of a lot of the pain I went through. I saw a lot of kids go through a hell of a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And there was something that inside of me which was always had some empathy for other people. And I started giving to charities now. At 13, I had a Midland Bank. That's all I had. And I remember it was Midland Bank.
I remember Midland Bank.
Yeah, you remember them, right?
Before it became HSBC.
That's right. Yeah, so you could have it as a teenager. The only ones that did teenage accounts. And I remember giving them my money, and I set up an Oxfam sort of adopt a child at this stage, right? And I didn't have much money. Like I remember going back, you could put £5 in at a time and you couldn't do much. But I always thought to myself, I've got nothing to live for. Everything to die for, really. Like if life takes me in that direction, I wouldn't say no, because it's given me so much. Then I couldn't say no, because it's thrown so many things my way and so many curveballs. So if it comes my way, so be it. Anyway, after this, my biggest thing at this stage was, how do I make the biggest impact? How do I create something and help other people? How can they go through the pain easier? Because I was going through a lot.
Yeah.
But I saw people that were going through hardly anything and still being massively impacted by it. Like in pain. They could see it through their face, their eyes, and I couldn't understand it. For me, it was like, is that it? Is that your problem? Like you wanna compare problems now? You wanna get shit into perspective?
Yeah.
Here we go. So the whole thing about India was, how do I create a bigger impact? How can I give back? So I created this rule that whatever I earn, 50% of it goes to charity. Yeah. So I remember I was in Bandra in Mumbai, and every Friday I used to go there and used to feed the people near this darbar that they'd have.
Yeah.
And there'd be people queuing up and just used to feed them and stuff. And that used to fill me up. But soon I ran out of money. So I'd come back, go back, come back, go back. Anyway, I did some commercials, did some films, did some modeling, did some theatre. Had some of the wildest experiences of my life, right, out in Mumbai.
Which we won't go into.
But we won't, no. For about 10 years. And then it started, and then my personal development journey sort of fully started. Because...
And this is when you started training,
yes,
teaching...
That's right.
People personal development.
Yes.
Leadership.
That's right.
Yeah, and so this kind of brings you forwards to, well, in essence, what you do today, which is serve... help people, mold them into the best version of themselves. So I'm keen to quickly touch on that, because, like, if I'm very honest, your story has just literally, I'm very sure, captivated everybody that's just been listening, because there's so much adversity that's come through from a young age, from being abandoned, from being taken into care, to then seeing your mum again, and then to being, watching them do fraud, and then to watching them turn into crack addicts, and then seeing gangsters, and then looking after a baby, and fights in school, and carrying a knife, becoming a doorman at 14 years old, pretending to be an 18-year-old. Like, it's honestly, if you haven't done so already, you need to write a book, right? But all of these things have shaped you to who you are today. And one thing I'd like to touch on for people listening is, because, look, let's not dress it up. Money, when they say money doesn't make the world go round, I disagree. I absolutely disagree. Yeah. Look what happened with you and your young sister. You didn't have the money to buy food. No. So when people saying like, oh, money doesn't bring you happiness and money doesn't matter, it's actually not true. It's completely wrong, okay? But we're going through some times right now where there's a lot of people out there who are either struggling with finances. I mean, cost of living's going up, inflation's at its highest that it's ever been, all this kind of stuff. And you and I both know that you get what you focus on. And a lot of people are focusing on what they don't have, which is the money. Yeah. But one thing they do have is the ability as a human being, just like you discovered at an early age, to be more resourceful. And they struggle with that. So I like to say to people, look, lose money, lose your friends, you can lose time, but never lose your mind. Yes. And no matter how much you tell people that, they don't get it. And the Mind Over Money podcast is about helping people actually uncover the patterns that are in their behavior that are stopping them from going off there and not just making more money, but having a better quality of life. So to people who are listening right now who are going through financial hardship, what's like one of the biggest pieces of advice you can give them right now? They're going through like a difficult time where they're coming from a place of lack. Because something that really resonated when you spoke just then was you started seeing people in India who said they had a problem, and you were like, is that it?
Yeah.
Do you want me to put shit into perspective for you? Do you want to know what real problems are? Because you've got a whole freaking resource folder of problems from being a 3-year-old up to an adult. Like, people often, they say that they've got a problem with money.
Yeah.
They're struggling, but there's always someone worse off.
Yeah.
So they focus on what they don't have, but they forget to take stock of what they do have. So I guess what I'm trying to say to you is what advice can you give to someone right now if they're coming from a place of lack rather than abundance?
I think for me, every time I've been in lack, I can only give that advice really. Because every time I've been in lack, or every time I've coached people that are in lack, you realize that the mind has been wired in a particular way, right? Their minds have been wired, and this lack doesn't just happen now. This lack started a long time ago.
Yeah.
This shifting of focus started a while ago. These fears that have now come to expression have been living inside of you before that. Like, right now we're having problems with inflation. Right now we're having problems in the economy. If you're constantly going to be drifted in the direction of your greatest fears, well, you don't have a life. Everyone else is going to be in control of you.
Yeah.
I grew up and realized at a very early age, no one controls me. Freedom is my biggest value.
Yeah.
And no one's ever going to take my freedom away from me. So whether it's a fear, whether it's the news, whether it's the government, it didn't matter. I learned very young, there's no one there for you. Right? When shit goes down, no one's going to be there for you.
Yeah.
All right? So you've only got you. Now what can you do? If you've just got you can invest in your mind. And the moment you start investing in you is the moment things start working out. But in order to invest in you, you've got to go back into your life and realize that actually, why do I focus on what I've lost rather than what I have? What's missing rather than what's already there? The pain rather than what you've gained through these experiences, through life. And the moment you take someone backwards and you go and get them to go and collect and go and grab everything they've forgotten, every experience that they've ever had that they needed, every emotion, and this has been resourceful, every emotion that lives inside of them, but they've forgot that they can actually experience that emotion and live it. Every bit of happiness, every bit of love, joy. I mean, let's be honest here, right? Let me break it down for you like this. So we are infinite beings having a finite experience. But we think we're finite beings and that's it. Whatever the world dictates, that's the direction we move.
Yeah.
If we understand our infinity, we'll probably have more faith in ourselves than we do in our finity, right? And the amount of people I try and just convince that the fact that, listen, and just a self-belief and a faith in them to say, you are bigger than your problems, don't you realize that? Tell me the last time you had a big problem. And they tell me, so what did you do? And they tell me what they did. Okay, so who was that? That was this. Right, so where is that person today?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, they're still inside of you. Okay, well, did you just forget what you got through? Did you forget? Why do we put so much emphasis? There's 3 things, right? Less, loss, never. These are the 3 things that we focus on. We put emphasis on what we don't have, loss, a less of, or something we'll never ever have. And the moment you tie those 3 things in together, your focus will shift. That will create a meaning, create a feeling, action, done. If we focus on abundance instead, I know you talk about this a lot, the abundance mindset, the abundance being, you're going to feel everything in abundance, which means it doesn't mean that there's loads coming to you. What it really means is that you have an abundance inside of you. And I'm always talking about an abundance in belief, an abundance in worth, an abundance in your own self-significance. Don't look to other people for your significance. It comes from you. An abundance in faith, an abundance in emotion. Like, most people walk around feeling 2 to 3 emotions a day. Right? And most of them are bad emotions, right? Like,
especially during this current climate.
Exactly. Now, what happened to gratitude, love, faith?
It's not a default.
Courage, confidence. You know, your strength and your ability and what you've been through to get to where you are today, knowing that you are greater than any challenge that come in your way, knowing that your belief in yourself should be bigger than any barrier that may be put in front of you. And this is the challenge, right? We all go insular. There's a great quote by Albert Einstein that says that we've created a society, essentially. the rational mind is a faithful servant.
Yeah.
The spiritual mind, right? That's a secret. We've created a society where we honor the servant and we forgot the gift, right? There is a spiritual gift inside each and every one of us, but we've forgotten about it. We've forgotten that. And I'm not talking about some form of spirituality here. I'm talking about just go and figure out what components in you make you, and go and look at what makes the universe, and go and see if they do tie up, and go and realize how infinite you are, because you are made up of the very same stuff that makes many of those things up there. So once you understand that there is greater power in you than you've ever been told, and the biggest problem with this is that most of us have been told a lie. We've been told a lie. We've been controlled by governments, we've been controlled by forces, controlled by schools, conditioned to listen, to not step out. Entrepreneurship. Think about entrepreneurship for a minute. You cannot be an entrepreneur if you grew up in the 80s and you went to school in the 80s. That wasn't designed for entrepreneurs. That was designed for slaves. Right? 9 to 5, listen to your boss. Leadership, you cannot talk, you cannot answer, you cannot ask questions. Entrepreneurship is very different because it requires you to be more of you than you've ever been before. Right? Making money requires you to be more in tune with who you are than ever before. Otherwise, you can make money, but just like me, I've made millions, I've lost millions. You're going to lose it, right? Because you don't have the mindset to keep hold of it. I was very young when I made a lot of money, but I lost it very young as well. But that was all fun, and I don't hold anything against that because that's just part of life. I've created businesses, I've lost businesses. I've had great relationships with people, I've lost people. I've had family members in my life and I've lost them totally. Money is something that I have complete faith in. And the reason I have complete faith is because I've got faith in myself more than I have the money. If I believe in myself, money will come. If I put money first, I'm always going to be chasing the newest scheme, get rich quick scheme.
But that's what everybody's doing right now.
Everyone's doing. So this is what I mean. I always say this. I say the first thing is know who you are. The second thing is extract that into service, right? Into a company, into an organization, into a business, something you can serve with. Third thing, you'll see the profit. Because based on those two, the money will come. You put money first, you're screwed.
It's not going to work.
Because you don't have the mindset. You've taught me this so many times about having the mindset of abundance, having a mindset of understanding what money can do, not just for you, for other people, right? And really knowing how to use money and don't let money use you. So that takes learning, that takes training, that takes a mentor to guide you through who's been there. And I needed that when I lost so much.
And well, look, and this is the thing, and this is kind of ties in nicely with what I was going to say next, really, is because people reach out to me a lot for help with their mindset. People know me as the person who trains on business, marketing, sales, that side of things, public speaking, all this kind of stuff. But because if you look at most of what I stand for, it's around mindset, it's around personal development, it's about taking charge of yourself, it's about, not letting your situation dictate you, but, taking control of that and taking ownership and all that kind of stuff. And like you said, don't chase money, put service first, put abundance first, put adding value to yourself, making yourself more invested. Like there's people listening to this right now that want a pay rise at work, but they've not invested any time in themselves, in making themselves more valuable to their employer. There's people right now who want to charge their clients more for what they do in their businesses, but they haven't brought any extra value to their clients. So what I'm trying to say is the people have got this value extraction mentality rather than value creation mentality. And so unfortunately, they don't teach this at school, and you're not going to learn it unless someone sits down and shows it to you. Now, like knowing, your background in personal development, you train people in NLP, neuro linguistic programming. You're able to facilitate change for people and help them to do that. You and I got speaking about this probably towards, the earlier part of this year. Seriously looking at how can we give people the tools that they need in order to excel in life. Now, look, neuro-linguistic programming, dear to both of our hearts. We've both trained in it. We both understand it. We both appreciate it. If anyone's listening, I'm not going to explain what it is right now. Go and Google NLP and it will give you a definition of what it is. But in essence, it's the study of human excellence. It's what makes people achieve things. It's what makes us become the best versions of ourselves. And when you understand these basic principles, you really do feel like you're unstoppable.
Yes.
Nothing can get in your way.
Yes.
You can make money. You can have the best relationships. You can have the best health. You can have the best career. You can have the best business, because, like you said, our potential is limitless. There is no there's only limitations that we put on ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So, but one thing I think we both agreed with is well, two things we agreed with. Number one, a lot of the terminology that is used when people are learning personal development is like medical jargon.
Yeah.
It's just words. People don't get it, right? And so because they don't get it, if people don't understand something, they're not going to implement it.
Yeah.
Second one is, people study this stuff, they've got tools, but then they don't know how to apply those tools to actual outside of the classroom scenarios.
Yes.
And that's where people get stuck.
Yeah.
So I think that the personal development training industry needs a shake-up. You and I have been looking at how we can help people get more resourceful, because I want people, obviously people listen to this show because they want to make more money. Yes, make more money, but we want to help you make more money, but we want to have people have the best lives that they can. And with all due respect, put qualifications to one side. Your experience is definitely 110%, coupled with my life experiences. You put those experiences together where you've put people into some really, difficult situations and they've come out on top. Yeah. It takes a certain level of mindset to do that. And what I like what we've done is we've basically unpacked all of this and we've put it into a practical way where people can learn how to actually start developing themselves without having to do 24 days of whatever it is and studying this and studying that, whatever it might be, and just compacting it into a way that people can get the resources that they need to not just better themselves, but then go off and start helping others as well. Yeah. Because I truly believe if you can, each one teach one, right? If you can pour into someone and they can pour into someone else, that's how you create this ripple effect, right? So we've got some stuff coming up real soon where we're going to be hosting some workshops, some classes, some training, which I'll make available to our listeners and subscribers, where they'll be trained by both you and me, and we'll both be serving them on these techniques and strategies, and obviously they'll get to meet you in person. I'm sure there's lots of people listening right now going, "Who is this guy? I want to meet him," which is really, really cool. So there will be, guys, for those of you listening, there will be some information in the show notes of the episode where you can get more information about this and these up and coming programs and how you can actually bypass years of what people study and condense it into a few days and things like that, so that you can live the best life that you deserve. Yes. But that being said, Imran, obviously we're going to have to wrap this up. Because I could sit here and talk all day. Both of us could. I think, it's probably going to be one of the longest episodes recorded on the Mind Over Money podcast. But it's an important topic. Yeah. It's about overcoming adversity and not letting your situation define yourself. And, bringing it back down to money. When we're in a situation now where bills are going up, the economy is crazier than ever, inflation's on the rise, it does lend itself to people pointing fingers and looking for answers from government, leaders, banks, whatever. And I don't want to say this without, and come across like I'm being harsh, but, if you're pinning all your hopes on the government and asking them for handouts and asking them to give you some kind of credit or give you some benefits to pay your bills, or what they're really doing if they go and do that is actually putting a plaster over a bandage. They're not teaching you to be resourceful. They're just giving you handouts. And that essentially is how the system's built. It's built for us to have to rely on other people. And you can't create an empowered world when everybody's relying on each other. No. So one last tip from you. What advice would you give to someone right now who felt a little bit out of control? Like they felt like, everything around them isn't going the way that they want it to. And they're constantly looking to pin that on someone else. Like, what advice would you give that person right now?
Do you know, if there are so many people, and it just reminds me of the people I've been training recently in coaching, and the fear shows up in various different ways. And the fear of what's going to happen next, the anxiety of following through, the depression that goes with it, the frustration that goes with a lot of expectations. So, one of the biggest things is having expectations on particular things to turn up. One is government, one is someone to be there for you, one is other people, right? Expectations, you don't reach them, that's it, it's over, right? So setting expectations. And you've got to understand that most of us have these expectations of life, but life doesn't work that way. I think a lot of us, it comes down to self-leadership. Like the moment we start leading ourselves back to ourselves is the moment we stop relying on exterior forces to have control of our lives. And that's what I learned at a very young age, that it didn't matter what happened in those economies. I didn't care. Those economies didn't matter to me. I was working in a different currency, if you know what I mean. Like, my currency was emotion. My currency was, how do I become better? How do I become more courageous? So when we're talking about currency and people focus on control, which is the fears, the problems, the anxieties, the government, these are things that are external forces, and most of us think that we should have those in our control. And when we can't control them, we'll feel worried, anxious, and we fall into a particular downward state that just doesn't help us. When we use self-leadership, though, self-leadership is something that's very different. It's knowing who you are, it's knowing where you need to be, and it's knowing that there's going to be a tough road ahead. There's going to be some adversity. It's going to be hard terrain at times. But you know what? It don't matter, because this time too shall pass. These are times, these are phases, these are seasons, these are chapters, right? These are this and you get to my age, which ain't that old, but you get
only 21 now. He's only 21.
I wish. You get to my experiences, and I can go through so many chapters of my life. It feels like I've lived 80 years.
I was just going to say, nobody will probably believe you when you tell them your age anyway, because like when you were 14, you were like 18 being a doorman, so like you faked your age.
No one's going to believe me now.
No one knows. No one will care now.
Even if I told them the truth, they'll be like,
nah, he's faked his age again. He's really 65, isn't he? Like,
oh, but I mean, I gotta say, man, that one thing about our expectations of life. This is something I learned at a very young age. Don't rely on anyone else. You cannot rely on the governments. Don't be influenced by people that haven't got the right intentions for you. Go find your way, but do the right thing for you, not for anyone else. So when I talk about self-leadership, it's about not letting anyone else lead you into something. However, one of the greatest lessons I've learned in life, and I left it a bit late, but it don't matter. I've had many, many, many mentors in my life. And one of the greatest lessons I learned is that you get a mentor. If you don't feel self-leadership, they will give you leadership. They will extract it from you. They will make sure they instill it, right? That leadership element of a mentor. And if someone's going through hard times right now and they don't know what to do in their life and they're struggling around the situation around them, number one, first of all, step back for a moment, feel grateful for what you have. Change your focus. It will change the way you feel. Number two, start making a list of things that you have achieved in your life, right? Number three, look at all your strengths, some of the adversities you've been through, and come and write down a few of your strengths. And number four, look at all of those and say, hey, okay, well, what do I really want to become? If I can do this and I can go through what I've been through, what do I want? Who is it I want to become, and what do I want to do? And without any expectations of these outside forces from governments, from other people, from handouts, from helping me out, what can I go and achieve? And let me find someone who's done it. Because I tell you what, one of the biggest mistakes I made, I tried to do it all myself, right? And you may have a great influence over your emotions, but you don't have greater influence over the path ahead, right? You can get through it, but it may be a struggle. Other people are walking through it because they've been up and down a few times, right? So getting a mentor, for me, was one of the greatest changes I could see in the shifts I've had in my life. Because now I've got someone I can go to and say, hey, what do you think about this? Hey, and I've got someone that calls me out on my bullshit as well, right? So I'm telling you, like, I cannot say enough. And if that means an online mentor, it don't matter, whatever, just a call, just someone that's going to be there.
You need someone.
You can't, right?
You need it.
An accountability partner, worst case, someone. People that can't afford it. But I would say that what you get, the return on investment is, you can't even 10x it. You got 100x it. It's just the way it always has been, and I think it always will be.
Love it. So take responsibility. You heard it. Like, you know, self-leadership. It's not going to be an easy route. It's not going to be, it's going to be a bumpy ride. It's not going to be as plain sailing. But if you've got good people around you as well, getting yourself mentors, getting into the right communities, all that kind of stuff, then obviously it will help. Now, speaking of that, obviously, I'd love to carry on talking all day. But there's people listening to this right now that might want to connect with you or reach out to you or follow more of what you do and what you stand for. So could you tell everyone how they can, how can they get in touch with you, how they can connect with you?
You can get me on Facebook, you can get me on Instagram, Imran Ahmed. On Instagram, it's imran.a_official. You can find me there. DM me, whatever.
Yeah. Fantastic. So you heard it. Connect with the man. Listen, it's been an absolute freaking pleasure Honestly, your story, I think, is going to go down in the Mind Over Money podcast history as one of the most inspirational stories ever told, I believe, because it's even I didn't know some of the stuff that you were coming out with. I was like, hang on a minute, I thought I knew your story. Like,
Trust me, there's more, brother.
There's even more.
We ain't got enough
We'll
time.
save that for another episode, I think. We need another episode for that. But seriously, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been an absolute honor having you here. And for those of you listening, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform. Leave a review so that, look, when you leave reviews, don't just leave the reviews to groom our egos. I'd love your reviews, by the way. Leave the reviews so that people can sift through all the noise in the podcast world. There's so many podcasts out there right now, and your reviews really help other people go, wow, actually that sounds like a really good podcast. Maybe I should check it out. So leave us a review, and obviously remember to share it with your family, your friends, anyone you can, especially this episode, because it's such an inspirational episode. And I think if anyone out there is going through some hard times, make sure that they listen to this episode, because I'm very, very sure listening to Imran's story here would definitely pick them up. So until next time, remember to keep your mind over your money and your money on your mind. This is Jess, and I hope you enjoyed the show. And thank you again, once again, Imran.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Mind Over Money podcast with Jess and James. Don't forget to subscribe and follow on all the channels, links in the show notes. Please also leave a review and visit www.jessandjames.com to find more resources on how to create the life you deserve.